In the sweeping narrative of the modern Catholic Church, one figure emerged to challenge conventions and redefine the papacy: Pope Francis. Born Jorge Mario Bergoglio on December 17, 1936, into a humble family in Buenos Aires, Argentina, he would ascend to the highest office in the Catholic Church, serving as its spiritual leader and sovereign of the Vatican City State from 2013 until his passing in 2025. His election was a moment of profound historical significance, breaking centuries of tradition as he became the first Jesuit pope, the first from the Americas, and the first non-European pontiff since the Syrian Pope Gregory III in the 8th century. His very presence on the world stage signaled a new direction, a fresh breeze for an ancient institution. The son of Italian immigrants, Bergoglio's early life in Buenos Aires was steeped in the rich tapestry of working-class Argentina. Before dedicating his life to God, he experienced a varied professional journey, working first as a chemical technician, then as a bouncer in a nightclub, and later as a janitor. These experiences, far removed from the ecclesiastical corridors, undoubtedly shaped his understanding of everyday struggles. A pivotal moment arrived in 1958 when a severe illness, a life-threatening bout of pneumonia that necessitated the excision of part of his lung, inspired a deeper spiritual calling. This brush with mortality solidified his resolve to join the Society of Jesus, the intellectually rigorous and globally focused Jesuit order. He was ordained a Catholic priest in 1969, and his early leadership qualities were recognized swiftly, leading to his appointment as the Jesuit Provincial Superior in Argentina from 1973 to 1979, a challenging period in the nation's history. Bergoglio's influence grew steadily within the Argentine Church. In 1998 he was appointed the Archbishop of Buenos Aires, a sprawling metropolis grappling with significant social inequalities. His tenure was marked by a profound commitment to the marginalized. He dramatically increased the church's outreach to the villas miserias, the impoverished shantytowns that sprawled on the city's outskirts, earning him the affectionate yet telling moniker Villero Bishop or Slum Bishop. This wasn't merely symbolic. He walked among the poor, understanding their plight firsthand. Beyond spiritual guidance, he also tackled systemic issues within the archdiocese, implementing strict fiscal discipline by divesting the archdiocese's bank shares, a move that brought an end to reckless spending habits that had pushed the institution to the brink of financial collapse. His dedication to both spiritual and temporal well-being caught the attention of the Vatican, and in 2001, Pope John Paul II recognized his contributions by elevating him to the rank of cardinal. The world held its breath in February 2013, as Pope Benedict XVI made the unprecedented decision to resign from the papacy. This created a vacuum that would be filled by a papal conclave. On March 13, 2013, after days of intense deliberation, white smoke billowed from the Sistine Chapel, signaling the election of a new pontiff. The announcement of Cardinal Jorge Mario Bergoglio as the new pope sent ripples of surprise and excitement across the globe. He chose the papal name Francis, a deliberate and deeply symbolic choice, in homage to Saint Francis of Assisi, a saint renowned for his humility, poverty, and dedication to peace and creation. This choice immediately signaled a shift in the perceived priorities of the papacy. It was later revealed that Bergoglio had been a significant contender in the 2005 conclave as well, reportedly even requesting cardinals not to vote for him to prevent a prolonged election, showcasing his characteristic humility even then. From the moment he stepped onto the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica, Pope Francis captivated the world with his approachable demeanor, his preference for simplicity, and his unwavering focus on God's mercy. His papacy was defined by several core principles that shaped his actions and pronouncements: humility and simplicity. He eschewed many of the traditional papal trappings, opting for simpler vestments and a more direct conversational style, setting a new tone for the pontificate. Emphasis on God's mercy. A cornerstone of his theological approach, Francis consistently highlighted the boundless mercy of God, encouraging a more welcoming and less condemnatory church. Interreligious dialogue. He actively sought to foster understanding and cooperation between different faiths, engaging in significant dialogues with leaders from Islam, Judaism, and other religions, emphasizing shared values and the pursuit of peace. Concern for the poor, migrants, and refugees. This was perhaps one of the most defining aspects of his papacy. He consistently used his platform to advocate for the most vulnerable, condemning the globalization of indifference and urging nations to welcome and integrate those fleeing poverty and persecution. His visits often included encounters with refugees and the marginalized, underscoring his solidarity. Pope Francis demonstrated a willingness to push for change and reform within the Church and on the global stage, articulating stances that were often seen as progressive, LGBTQ+ inclusivity. While upholding traditional Church doctrine on marriage, Francis initiated a more pastoral and welcoming approach towards LGBTQ+ individuals. He famously stated, "Who am I to judge?" when asked about gay priests, and affirmed that while blessings of same-sex unions are not permitted in a liturgical context, individuals in same-sex relationships could receive blessings, distinguishing between the person and the union. He also strongly advocated for the universal decriminalization of homosexuality, recognizing the human dignity of all individuals. Women's roles in the Church. Francis took significant steps to increase the participation of women in the Church's governance. He appointed women to leadership positions within the Roman Curia, making them full members of dicasteries, and for the first time in history, allowed women to vote at the Synod of Bishops, a move that signaled a greater recognition of their contributions. Environmental stewardship, Laudato Si. His encyclical Laudato Si on climate change and environmental protection was a landmark document, passionately advocating for a covenant between humanity and the environment. He criticized unfettered consumerism, unsustainable overdevelopment, and the pervasive culture of waste, calling for urgent action to protect our common home. Abolition of capital punishment. Francis firmly declared capital punishment inadmissible in all cases, amending the Catechism of the Catholic Church to reflect this stance and committing the Church to its worldwide abolition, citing its attack on the inviolability and dignity of the person. International diplomacy and peacebuilding. Francis emerged as a pivotal figure in international relations. He played a crucial role in brokering the restoration of full diplomatic relations between Cuba and the United States after decades of estrangement. He also navigated complex negotiations with the People's Republic of China regarding the appointment of Chinese bishops, seeking greater unity within the Church. His efforts extended to the Middle East, where he encouraged peace between Israelis and Palestinians, and signed the Vatican's first treaty with the State of Palestine. He was also a vocal critic of rising populism and anti-immigration politics, advocating for inclusion and solidarity. Even a papacy as transformative as Francis's faced its share of scrutiny and controversy. Allegations surrounding his actions during Argentina's brutal dirty war in the 1970s, specifically concerning his perceived inaction in protecting two Jesuit priests, continued to surface. While a criminal complaint against him was ultimately dismissed, the debate surrounding his role during this dark period remained a point of contention for some. However, his authorized biographer and a number of human rights activists consistently defended his actions, asserting that he worked tirelessly behind the scenes to secure the release of the priests and aided numerous individuals in fleeing the dictatorship. His relationships with successive Argentine presidents, particularly Nestor Kirchner and later Cristina Kirchner, were often strained. Initially there was public friction and ideological differences. However, as his global popularity surged, Cristina Kirchner, despite their past tensions, notably embraced the Francis phenomenon, recognizing his significant influence on the world stage. In his final years, Pope Francis continued his tireless work, his presence a comforting and guiding light for millions. His last public appearance on Easter Sunday, 2025, was a moment of profound reflection for Catholics worldwide. He passed away on April 21, 2025, leaving behind a profound legacy of humility, reform, and a renewed emphasis on the core tenets of Christian mercy and social justice. His less formal approach to the papacy and his commitment to walking with the marginalized redefined the role of the pontiff for the 21st century. On May 8, 2025, the College of Cardinals elected Leo XIV as his successor, who became the second pope from the Americas, inheriting a church deeply impacted by Francis's transformative vision. Pope Francis's pontificate will forever be remembered as a period of significant change, compassion, and a persistent call for a more inclusive and just world.